Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I'm going to tell you the top 5 decks that you need to look out for with the second release of Hololive OCG. Now, if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoy this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links down in the description, and if you want to support the channel even further and access new benefits that are coming very soon, please consider becoming a member, hitting that join button down below, and those benefits will include exclusive deck profiles, exclusive educational gameplay video where I actually talk through a thought process during a game, and some other bits as well, maybe some monthly Q&As specialized for the members, maybe some behind the scenes stuff, exclusive member only streams where I'll do my editing with members. And if you've got any other ideas of what you'd like to see and what would encourage you to become a member for the channel, let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious as to what you would like to see. And a massive thank you to everyone that's been commenting and giving an answer to the polls that I've been putting on YouTube recently regarding my memberships to the channel. I genuinely really appreciate it. So yeah, if you have any ideas of the sort of things that you would like to see, as well as if you would like to become a member to see those happen, let me know, comment below and join and become a member. But let's jump straight in. So in today's video, like I said, I am going to be showing you the top 5 decks that I think you need to look out for with the release of Set 2 Quintet Spectrum in the English version of Hololive OCG coming out on the 17th of October, which as of the point of recording this, just over a week away. And of course, on release day, we will be opening a sealed case of Quintet Spectrum on this channel, on Twitch and on YouTube. So on Friday the 17th of October, I'll be putting a reminder post for people to come and join that. So make sure you're ready, because hopefully it'll be a good case. Now, in these decks, I've kind of tried to make a rule whereby I am not looking at decks that improve from set 1 to set 2. You know, there are certain cards that get some massive upgrades. Looking at the likes of Suisse, obviously getting the Chloe Ramp engine. As just an example, I am not going to be including those sorts of decks. I am looking at decks that, bar the support cards basically, mostly include cards from set 2. So that, you know, if you are investing into set 2 and then you're like, oh, I just need a few more cards for set 1, this is basically the video for you. Not only that as well, I guess, going into set 2 meta, it's good to know that these decks exist, especially a few of them, because some of them will impact the meta quite significantly. And of these 5 decks, I'm going to start from the weakest of the 5 in my opinion, working my way up to what I think will be an extremely impactful deck overall in the Hololive OCG English meta. Starting off at number 5, we have our good friend Shirakami Fubuki, and she's quite a unique deck in that she wants you to run a lot of mascots, so try and get as many mascots out on the stage as possible. Oshi allows you to search for a mascot for her Oshi skill, and also her main SP Oshi skill is that you may roll a die for every 2 mascots on your stage, and if your white Holomem has downed an opponent's Holomem, if an odd number appears once during those rolls, your opponent takes an extra life. So it's an extra bit of life damage, which is really, really cool. Yeah, I think it's a really unique deck. And looking at the main other Holomems, we are just running like the debut Unlimited Fubukis, which is still a good card. But overall, I think that the Fubuki deck and the engine is very, very supportive for getting your mascots. You've got the Idol Bloom, which just lets you search for a hashtag Shirakami's character, which is basically your mascots. They all have that tag, which is really cool. You also have access to the other first bloom, which lets you reattach your mascots. So putting your mascots where you need to. So if your Holomem is about to go down and you want to make sure your mascot doesn't go to the archive, you can use this to basically shimmy that around, which is kind of sick. The second bloom is really important as well, because the second bloom has a gift effect which allows you to attach up to 2 mascots with different names to this Holomem. Normally you can only attach 1 mascot to your Holomem, but Shirakami Fubuki second allows you to attach 2 mascots to different mascots specifically. And again, for every mascot on the stage, it does more damage as well. So you're looking at 80 base with an advantage to purple. But then you could realistically do easily up to 180, because you're going to be having between 4 and 6 mascots on your stage. So the Fubuki can do a lot of damage. And we then run the Mio cheer ramp engine, which comes in set 2 with the idle bloom, which is on bloom. Choose a cheer of the same color as one of your gamers holomem on the stage, and then attach that cheer to one of your holomems, which is a really, really cool card. In terms of the rest of the cards, obviously you're running your Nodokas and Manachans and your normal PCs, of course you are. You've obviously got Bicononate added in there as well, which gives you access better to your debuts to ensure that when you do need to see that Mio, if for whatever reason you haven't seen it early game, it allows you to grab that Mio pretty damn easily. And all of the mascots have certain effects. Orianke is an extremely good one, giving you access to draw, which is really nice. Neji Kitsune is also a very good one that, it gives extra health as well. And then when the holomem is down with this mascot attached, you get to move a cheer around, which is kind of nice. And then you've also got the other two, Fubuchun and also Fubuzilla. Again, you're running them because you want mascots of different names, more importantly. But Orianke is the main one that you're going to be wanting to go for. Moving on to number 4. Now, I know I did say that I weren't going to be looking at decks that improve cards from set 1, but this one is a little bit of an exception. It still primarily runs a new character, and this is the Takamori deck. You're running the Mori Calliope Oshi, basically allowing you to use a Calli's art twice in the same turn, which is kind of sick. It lets you repeat an art, if you will. And not only that as well, you get to archive 2 cards from your hand to return 2 EN holomem from your archive to your hand. So a really good bit of hand manipulation, which is what we see in purple. Like hand manipulation or stage manipulation is kind of purple's deal overall as a whole, if you are looking to try and put a theme to the color. You've also got the Kali Second Bloom, which is a pretty nice card. Just on play, chuck a card from your deck into your archive. Basically, you're stacking your EN holomems into there, and then if you've got 4 or more holomem with myth in your archive, it does plus 40 damage, so 120 overall. And if you have 8 or more, it does 160, so a decent bit of damage output with the advantage to blue as well. Considering we're going to see probably a fair bit of Suisei, that is not terrible, to be honest. But obviously you are running this in conjunction to Kiara, which we know, again, you want to try and get as many EN holomems into your archive in order to maximize the output to your second Kiara. We've seen what Kiara can do in terms of set 1. She gets I think a good consistency buff with Kali being added to the deck, and you are still running a bit of the Chloe cheer ramp engine because that can go in basically any deck. But overall, this is a pretty neat deck. It's weird to see the cheers list only being 20 cheers, but you are running Death Sensei, so that the purple cheer requirement of your Kalis just become colorless, so you can get away with running 20 red cheer. Next up at number 3, and probably one of the better anti-meta decks in the format, and it's still performing quite well as a off-meta choice, and that is Murasaki Shion. With her, you are looking a lot at cheer manipulation on your opponent's side of the stage, which is really sick. The second bloom Shion basically gives you access to some really neat effects with the bloom effect. First of all, with the bloom effect, you get to roll a die, and if it's a 4 or greater, you get to move a cheer from your opponent's stage onto any of their holomem, which is kind of cool. And then it deals 80 damage base, and then an additional 20 special damage with each cheer on your opponent's center holomem to that holomem and their collab holomem, which I just realized. So realistically, if you can manipulate your opponent's cheers so that there are 4, maybe 5 cheers on their center, you're doing 80 damage to wherever you target, and then you're doing an additional 100 damage to both their center and collab. So Shion does have the ability to have a massive amount of damage output, which is kind of terrifying. You've got other cards to support her. Obviously, you've got Explosion Magic in there. The other Shion cards basically give you more cheer manipulation. You've got some hand ramp, should I say, with the Idle Bloom Shion, which is kind of neat, where it just lets you look at top 3 and add a blue or purple holomem from amongst those to your, and then add it to your hand, which is why you also get away with running the Chloe cheer ramp engine. She is blue, so it goes quite well with the Idle Shion. You've also got the other first bloom Shion, which on bloom you can archive a card from your hand to return a card with magic from your archive to your hand, so you get to constantly reuse that explosion magic, which is kind of neat. And then you've got the main art of it, where you roll a die, and if it's 5 or greater, you get to reattach one of your opponent's cheers from stage to your opponent's holomem. So again, you could either stall your opponent by taking cheers off of their main center, or you can move it so stack it onto their center holomem, and ultimately then swing in with the second bloom and deal a lot of damage. So it's kind of neat. And like we said, we do run the Chloe cheer ramp engine. It makes sense doing this deck. The Shion Oshi itself is kind of neat as well. If you are doing a die roll for the Oshi skill, you can pay one just to re-roll that die, which is kind of nice. And then her amazing magic for the SP Oshi skill basically allows you to, when your purple center holomem uses its art, you get to deal 50 special damage to your opponent's center holomem for each number of the cheers on that holomem. So again, you are doing additional damage with the second based upon the cheers on the center. The SP Oshi can also do a lot of extra damage, so it can do, like, it's doing 50, 100, probably 150, and maybe even more to the opponent's center holomem. So it's quite an aggressive Oshi for that sort of scenario. And it definitely deals with holomems that if your opponent gets something really big and beefy to the center, the Shion deals with that very, very well. On to number 2, we of course have actually got to talk about the main Chloe deck, and the one that seems to be doing best in terms of its results and things like that, whilst it has an extremely high difficulty to play this deck, is Louis Chloe. So it's a Holo X deck with Takane Louis and Sakamata Chloe. You are running the Chloe Oshi, which if your center holomem is Sakamata Chloe, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you get to either archive all of those cards or return them back on top of your deck in any order. So you basically use this to stack for your second Chloe's ability, which is really, really awesome. And then the life reset button for the SP skill. First of all, you have to count the number of cards in your hand, and then you return all of your cards in your hand and all of the cards into your archive, in terms of your holomems, should I say, your archived holomems, and you get to put them back into your deck, shuffle your deck, and then draw 1 card, each card returned from your hand to the deck. So if you had a 5-card hand, you would shuffle your 5-card hand and all the holomems in your archive back into your deck, and then you draw back 5. And this also basically allows you to, when you are getting a lot of debuts to your hand, because you are running an extremely high debut count of 20, basically you want those debuts back into your deck to maximize the output for your Chloe. And the Chloe second is really, really amazing. So basically what she does is gift effect. When you use this Heart's Holo X slot, when it reveals a card, if all 3 of those cards are the same bloom level, your opponent takes a life. Straight up, just take a life. So if you can guarantee that you've got debuts in your deck, especially on the top of your deck, and you've got 3 of them, you can down with the holo slot as well, because it's 100 damage base, and then for every holomem that you reveal, you do an additional 20. So if it is 3 debuts, you're doing 160 damage, which is likely to down a holomem, and then you get to take an additional life as well because of the gift effect. Chloe is very much a high roll gambling deck, but in the right hands, this deck can be devastating. The reason why we run Louis though is mainly for the second. The second bloom Louis basically has a bloom effect whereby when you bloom this card, you can return up to 2 Holo X holomems from your archive back to your hand. What that means is that you are going to be adding debuts back to your hand to a point where you're ready to use your life reset button to shuffle all those debuts back into your deck and maximize the chances of your Holo X slots hitting 3 debuts, or at least 3 of the same bloom level, which is what you really want. And not only that as well, again, you get to archive cards from your hand, so for the arts, and you're not really going to be using the arts for this card. There are times where you might have to, which is why we do run 4 red cheers just in case. But 9 times out of 10, you are going to be finishing the game with your second Chloe, and you are basically using the Louis second purely for bloom effect. Like I said, this is a really complex deck to actually pilot and navigate. I've still not fully figured it out yet, but it is one of those decks that if you do get your head around it, it can do extremely, extremely well. And finally, the main deck we've got to talk about, of course, is Reiner. Now, obviously, there's Reiner Iofi, of course there is, and that is a very valid deck using the Oli Oshi. But I am going to be going for the deck that I think, 1, performs slightly better, and secondly, involves more cards from set 2. And that is Reiner Marine. And whilst it isn't synergizing on the ID side, it is synergizing on the art tag. You do have access to the Idol's autograph pen, which is basically the gravity event for drawing tag, which is really good. Obviously, Marine and Rainier both have that tag. And then you are running a wide variety of cheers, 10 green, 4 blue, and 2 white, blue, and purple, because you do need that for your second Rainier. The second Rainier basically has a 4 cheer art, starting off at 100 damage, where for every different color cheer on your stage, it deals an additional 20. So you are looking at potentially doing 200 damage with the Rainier, and getting the different colored cheers, whilst it looks complicated, it really isn't, honestly. The Rainier second bloom also has the bloom effect, where on bloom, get a cheer from your cheer deck and attach to one of your holomems. So if you are missing a color, you just fix it immediately with that, which is kind of cool. You've also got the cheer ramp of the debut collab Rainier, which is a very good card, which I mentioned in my top 10 video of cards from this set. And then you are basically leaning into Tatang a little bit, which is a limited card in the Japanese format, not in the English format yet. We are still awaiting a restriction list for the English format. My prediction is that they will start bringing one in with the release of set 2, maybe just a little bit after, or they will actually wait for tournament results to come in from Bloom Cups and things like that around the world. And they may even potentially wait, if they do decide to do one and they do it in decent time, they may even wait until some more regional events happen, whether they do an equivalent of the Bloom Cup DX or the WGP. That could be a way in which they would get more tournament results at the highest level. You've also got the Marine engine. You've got the first Bloom Rainier, which is incredibly good. Just on bloom, search your deck for a Hoshou Marine, but you can only use that bloom effect once per turn. It's short because you can basically use this Marine to search another copy of itself, and then when you bloom that first bloom, you can then grab your second Marine and then bloom into your second Marine, so that your Marine stack has 3 Holomem underneath her. And then she's got the effect on bloom. The second bloom has the effect that on bloom, you return a Holomem from your archive to your hand, and then if it has 3 or more Holomems stacked underneath it, it deals 50 damage to your opponent's center or collab. It's a really, really neat card, and it's a good secondary finisher for the Rainier deck. And the fact that there is a good amount of consistency because of the art tag, the drawing tag, should I say, because it got translated differently in English. Sure, we'll call it drawing tag. And then the rest of the deck basically supports these 2 Holomems and these finishing games. It is an extremely explosive deck. And you run the Kobo Oshi, you never use the Oshi skill. So, because you're not going to be detaching any cheers from a blue Holomem. But the SP Oshi skill, whilst you cannot use it for Marine, you can use it for Rainier. It is an ID tag. She's ID Gen 2, I think. But then realistically, you are going to be going, oh, I've lost all my different colored cheers. Oh no. Here's Rain making my SP Oshi skill, and here's all that different color cheers back where I need them. So when you think you've dealt with all of the different colors that they have access to for their cheers, Kobo just fixes that. And again, being a 6 life Oshi is huge. Again, I always say that 6 life versus 5 life Oshis is a massively underrated thing. 6 life Oshis are extremely good just because they have that extra life. And think about it, because when you take life, it is a form of cheer ramp. So you do get an extra bit of cheer ramp that your opponent doesn't get, which can be the difference to winning and losing a game. And just having extra life so you don't lose the game so quickly, again, can be the matter of winning the game or not. So yeah, those are the 5 decks that I think you should look out for with the release of Set 2 Quintet Spectrum in Hololive OCG English Edition, coming out on the 17th of October. What do you think? And have I missed any important decks from Set 2? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you think. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links in the description. And again, like I said earlier, if you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member and hitting that join button down below, where very soon we are going to have some exclusive benefits for you. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.